Welcome to Ask Fear and Greed, where we take your questions and do our very best to answer them. I'm Michael Thompson, and good afternoon, Sean Aylmer.
Good afternoon, Michael.
Sean, today's question is a very US election-themed question. It has come from Nikki on Instagram, and she says, why are an elephant and a donkey the symbols of the Republicans and the Democrats, respectively, in the US? What do they mean? And I thought this is a great one for you because you do love your US politics, don't you?
I do. And I knew half the story, but I certainly didn't know the full story. So there was a cartoonist at Harper's Weekly who's famous in America. His name was Thomas Nast, N-A-S-T, or Nast, N-A-S-T. And there are stories that the word nasty comes from this cartoonist, Thomas Nast. Anyway, he was actually the person who first drew those political symbols for the Democrats and the Republicans. He was also in Harper's Weekly, sort of the person who created Uncle Sam and also Santa Claus in the US, or the US's version of Santa Claus, which I think is quite phenomenal.
Wow.
Yeah. So he was at Harper's Weekly for about 25 years. He became America's first great political cartoonist and one of its harshest satirists. Thing is, where did he get the idea from? Well, it's probably before then. So the Democratic Party's donkey, originally, it's probably traced back to the 1828 presidential campaign of Andrew Jackson. During that race, opponents of Jackson called him a jackass. So it's not just this campaign, people being yelling names at each other, a jackass. And so what did Andrew Jackson do? I mean, he was a war hero, this guy. What did he do? He loved it. So he included an image of the animal in his campaign posters.
He decided to lean in.
Yeah,
Sure.
Lean in. That's it. He leant in to the donkey. And then Thomas Nast picked it up and ran with it. So that's that one. The Republican Party, that was formed in 1854. Mm-hmm. It got the elephant a decade later or so. But Abraham Lincoln became its first member ever elected to the White House. Now, an image of an elephant was featured as a Republican symbol in at least one political cartoon and a newspaper illustration during the Civil War. This is according to history.com. Now, seeing the elephant was a phrase they used to use. It used to be an expression used by soldiers to mean experience in combat. But it probably didn't take hold of this Republican Party symbol until Thomas Nast actually picked it up and ran with it. And that was in about 1874. So they have longer histories, both with presidents, Andrew Jackson for the Democratic Party, Abe Lincoln for the Republicans. But it was this Thomas Nast, who was a Harper's Weekly columnist and a great political satirist, who actually gave the form of the donkey and the elephant as we know today.
Isn't it remarkable to think how influential some people are that we've never actually heard of?
Yeah. So this guy was pretty cool. Not only did he basically grew up in New York City in the 40s and 50s. Apparently he was ferociously bullied as a child. And so throughout all his cartoons, there are always bullies of massive size and they're always being beaten. The bullies are always being beaten. And this is kind of what he became known for. And then, of course, the Democrat and Republican symbols, Uncle Sam, Santa Claus, a few things like that. Quite the satirist.
That is amazing. I love an Ask Fear and Greed where we both learn.
Yeah, totally.
Something.
I had heard of Thomas Nast. I didn't know the Abe Lincoln and Andrew Jackson connections. It's very cool.
That is fantastic. All right. That was a great question, Nikki. Thank you for asking it. And Sean, thank you for answering it.
I've got to give I've got to give all credit to history.com, to CNN, to the New York Times. I was chasing up a bunch of resources on that, so I should mention all those.
No, that's fair. All right. Remember, if you've got something that you would like to know, if you've got something that you would like Sean to research extensively, then send it on through via LinkedIn or Instagram, as Nikki did, or Facebook, or at fearandgreed.com.au. Jump onto the website and send it on through there, and we'll pop your question on the list. I'm Michael Thompson, and this is Ask Fear and Greed.